Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of Behind the Jersey. We've had a week or so off. People have been traveling around the state and the country for a lot of sports here at DSU, but this is an opportunity for you all to get to know Dickinson State University athletes and to get to know who they are, not just on the mat, on the court, on the field, on the diamond, but you get to learn who they are as people, what they're into, what their pursuits are, what they do up here. I'm Galen Parker, and I'm here with a fellow Florida man, Seth Suvak. And it's always nice to see a Florida man come to North Dakota. What was it that brought you here?
So originally I was coming really just to wrestle. I only wrestled for 2 years in high school, so not a lot.
You got a short career in high school, as I read.
I started junior year, like the summer of my junior year, and then made it to regions then. I knocked out in the blood rounds. Senior year, ended up placing sixth. So I just wasn't ready to be done because that was so short. And not a lot of people were looking into me or anything.
Right.
Ended up finding Dickinson State. Hit them up, actually. They didn't recruit me. I reached out.
Cool.
Our coach, Payson Dirk, hit me back. They started talking to me, offered me like a fair scholarship, especially for what I was. Like, I wasn't very refined.
Well, it wasn't as though you were well known.
No, not at all. Like, I wasn't highly sought after for sure. But I mean, the price range was good. They had what I wanted. I came here originally for exercise science. I was looking to do physical therapy. Since then, I have changed and done for the last year and a half now, almost two. I've been in our associates program. It's fire science.
Okay.
So that's done in conjunction with Dickinson Fire Department here. So right now I'm actually in my last semester of it. I'm doing, I do my internship, which is a 24-hour shift once a week with the fire department. I'm on shift with them. I just got done with that this morning, actually, at 7 o'clock. And then I've done Fire 1, Fire 2, hazmat, so just all the practical training and like book things that you need to know to be a firefighter. Right. So that's what I'm going to pursue after college. So
it's one of those things where you wanted something a little bit more meat on the bone, something a little bit with more heart.
That and just something, more physical. So I've always been better with my hands for sure. I'm not going to be able to sit still or do an office job for sure. It's just not my style now.
Well, I understand that. Well, Seth comes from a high school called Colonial High School in Orlando, Florida. And for those who live in North Dakota, you don't understand just how congested Florida is. And it takes a very long time to drive from Pensacola all the way down to the Keys. But in the meantime, you can drive across the entire state in somewhere in the region of about an hour and 45 minutes. So for those who are used to driving all the way over to Williston or Bismarck for regional competition, district competition in Florida, you might drive 15 minutes to play all the folks that you have. But you only had the 2-year career in wrestling, and you were a 4-year track athlete, however. And so what did you do in track?
Track, I actually did quite a few things. So my best events were discus, and then I threw jav my senior year. But in all, I did 110 hurdles, 300 hurdles. I ran the 800 one year just because I did cross country as well for a few years.
Okay.
And
hardest race in track, by the way.
It was 8, yeah. So then I did, like I said, discus, shot, and jav. I was not very good at shot. I was kind of a scrawny, like just lanky kid, but that was good for flinging a disc. So I had that down. I made the state for that as well my senior year.
Okay, very cool.
Thought about pursuing that, but wrestling was just a lot more fun.
Yeah, it seems that way, and it's benefited you because you were just recently named to the All-American team for NAIA after your run over the course of this season, and you're a junior, am I correct?
Eligibility-wise, yeah. With this finishing this degree, I technically would be a senior, but I am looking to come back. Okay. I'm looking to try and get a bachelor's and something.
Yeah, why would you want to leave?
Yeah, I mean, I want to give it another crack. 8th place is just, it's pretty humbling for me. I want to do better.
Okay. Well, as far as I can tell, you've really grown in the sport. What has Coach Schleck meant to you as far as the wrestling side of things and his I guess position and observation and instruction because of the short high school career, and you've obviously grown in those 3 years at the collegiate level. Right. What has he meant to you as far as you learning from him?
Schleck's the man, honestly.
I seen him at lunch a little while ago, by the way.
he's helped me out in more ways than one. Just definitely off the mat. I've been I was pretty troubled for a few years here. I've caused him some headaches for sure. Okay. And he's just been very gracious and helped me, given me so many opportunities that I don't know if anybody else could or would. So I mean, I owe a lot to Schleck, Payson, the rest of the staff, like our whole coaching staff they're just great people here.
Mm-hmm. What would you say has been the most difficult adjustment that you've made? And for people to move from Florida up to here, I get asked all the time, and I'm sure you get the same question.
Yeah.
Why in the world would you want to leave Florida to move to North Dakota? But what was the hardest adjustment in the meantime?
Well, first year, cold was a different animal for sure. And then being away from my family, I mean, all my family lives in Florida really. So that was a little different, but honestly, it was a nice adjustment. The people up here, in my opinion, are kinder. The community's more tight-knit.
Amen.
Yeah. I've grown used to the small town. I go home, I kind of feel out of place now. It's too many people. It's just congested. It's
right.
Like you said. So I don't know. I've grown to like it here a lot. I'm going to stick around here for at least a few more years too after I'm done. So.
Okay. And one of the things that I found funny whenever I first moved up here is we in Florida have I-95. And I-95 very often is like a parking lot.
Yep.
And you can't move around, you can't navigate. Everybody's driving like it's a drag strip or something along those lines. You get up here to I-94 and there's 8 cars from one end of town to the other.
Right.
And so for me, it was nice to be able to not be stuck in traffic, to be able to get from one side of the town to the other.
Right.
In roughly 10 or 15 minutes, as opposed to a half hour or 45 to go to Ace Hardware down home, right? But there's bound to be other things that you miss too. What are your folks' names, by the way?
My dad's name is Jacob.
Okay.
And then my stepmom is Elizabeth.
Okay.
I lost my mom young, so she's not around.
Sorry to hear that.
That's all right.
And have they been able to come up here?
My dad actually visited for the first time this year.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know how much he really liked it up here. He's not very used to it, but he brought my little brother with him, and my other brother has actually moved up here to stay with me. So I had a good support system this year, and they came up for our home tournament, and I really enjoyed having him here, and I think he enjoyed watching me wrestle again. He's never seen me wrestle in college, besides videos and such. But so it was good. That was a really good moment for me. It was a highlight of my season, I think. And then he also made the trip to Wichita to watch me at nationals, so that that meant a lot.
Yeah, and one thing that I can tell anybody who's interested in looking at Dickinson State University across the country, whether you're in tennis or not tennis, whenever you're in wrestling or football or baseball, softball, any of the pursuits that they have, is the summers here are just amazing. That's one thing that I'll say. I don't miss Florida summers, not one tiny bit, man.
Yeah, the hurricanes and the wet heat. Yeah, I've lived up here every summer since my freshman year, so I basically live here year round.
So you feel like you're kind of a Dickinsonian at this point?
One of my advisors calls me a lifer. That has been tossed around.
Right?
There's a chance for sure.
Mm-hmm. The pursuits that you have outside of wrestling, and I'm sure you stay busy all the time.
Yeah.
But what kind of things do you do with your free time? And is there a place in town that you really enjoy going to more than any other one?
That's a hard one. Honestly, the last few years has been eat, sleep, wrestling. It's been, we really focus on, that's all my free time.
Your elbows in it, yeah.
Well, yeah, between school, that, and working, it's really, I really don't do too much of my free time, kind of just hang out, take a breath, honestly.
And what do you do when you're hanging out? You and your buddies do anything, play cards, video games, things like that?
Not a big video game guy, but yeah, we've been known to play some cribbage and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. What is your favorite place to eat in town?
Favorite place in town? Blue, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, everybody says Blue. Everybody likes Blue 42. So.
Yeah, there's lots of good places in town, though.
Mm-hmm. What? And you said you're a dealer over at the Spur. That's got to be fun to be able to do that as a side job.
It's enjoyable. You don't have to be in the bar like drinking and causing a mess. So I'm just still stay social, but making some money and interacting with people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do that, and then like I said, I'm trying to get my construction job back here this summer probably, and the people over there are good too. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, like I was saying about the summers, and you don't even mind being outside, no matter what time of day it is. Yeah. And you can keep your windows open at night all night long. The electricity bill's only around $45. It's really not bad, folks. You ought to check it out. What do you think that the future holds for you in wrestling? Would you like to be involved in coaching and that kind of thing if you stick around here? It's
actually funny. I talked to. We were talking about that with one of my coaches. He doesn't think I'd be the greatest coach. I'm not the most technical wrestler.
Okay.
They really looked at me because I was pretty athletic, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And I try to be coachable, but at the same time, I do do some goofy things.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable teaching somebody when I'm kind of a goober myself. But, I mean, I would like to. We help out with the Little Hawks program. We do a few weeks of like 5 to I think 13 or 12 or so is our age range. Okay. And that's a lot of fun. I love coaching the little kids. They're a great time.
Yeah,
so,
it's also another good way to grow the sport and to learn a little bit by coaching too.
And give back to the community a little bit. Like I said, this community is pretty tight-knit, and I was actually really happily surprised by the reaction from not just me, but our other qualifiers from nationals. People actually tuned in and watched and were pretty supportive, so that was great to see.
And your team, I think, here at DSU as a wrestling program in general, going back to Coach Schlecht and his impact, and the kind of people who they brought in here, seems to have grown quite a bit in that 3 years since you've been here.
Yeah, it has, and we've started to actually retain, because I think that was the issue at the beginning, was like we had talent, we had coachable kids, just we couldn't retain them, and maybe that comes with the difference in North Dakota's environment and everything, but some kids, they just get froze out, or they don't find love for the sport anymore, or whatever it is. But we've started in the last few years. We keep recruiting talent, and we keep them here and develop them. So I think
you guys seem to be a pretty close team, like pretty tight knit at this point. That's what I've seen whenever I go down there.
Oh yeah, I love the team. They've been the best part, and they were the biggest part of the nationals for me. It was having those guys there.
Right.
So.
And you guys also did well at the Heart of America tournament.
Yeah.
You were the champion in your weight class. Which weight class are you in?
I wrestle heavyweight.
Heavyweight. Okay. Can that be anywhere up to a certain amount, or you just has to be over a certain?
So that's 197 to 285.
Okay.
I grew out of 197 in the course of a summer, but I'm a very small heavyweight.
Right.
A lot of guys are big.
Yeah, because I was looking at the results, and it said something he wrestling at 285, and then when I walked through the door and I seen you, I knew for a fact that you didn't weigh 285 pounds.
No. I probably walked around the season 230, 235. It was kind of hard for me to keep weight on.
Okay.
We do a lot of cardio, obviously, and then a lot of the wrestling. It's hard to keep the weight on.
Right. Well, you're about 6'2", so
yeah.
that translates well as far as just the weight ratio to size
right.
and all that kind of thing. What is it that you think that you can do, going back to what you were mentioning a couple of minutes ago about next year and having your eligibility and going back to the NAIAs and progressing through the coming season? What is it you think you're going to have to do different to rise above that 8th place position?
Probably be a little more disciplined this year. I mean, I tried to be, but there's definitely always more you can do.
Right.
Always extra. I need to get in extra practices, extra time, because I was working a lot during this postseason, and started probably January. So the bulk of our season, I was working and doing a lot of things on the extra on the side. So maybe prioritize wrestling a little more. Maybe give me that extra edge. So I'm hoping, and maybe be a little more of a leader in the room. I don't always. I try to lead by example as best as possible, but I'm not the one to tell you what to do or this or that. I kind of just play my role and grind as hard as possible. So.
Floridians, we have a tendency to be a little bit more laid back.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you see as far as your future goes with working in the fire and emergency services? What kind of things would you like to accomplish there?
I don't know. The sky's the limit, really. So I'm just going to be thankful for the opportunity to work here. I'm hoping to do that after I'm done here in college. So hoping to get a full-time position here and get some experience in, and so kind of see where that leads me.
Okay. And my last question for you is, when you do finally decide to go, and I hope you stick around for a little while, you said you might be a lifer and stick around up here, but what would be the thing that you think you'd miss the most in the event that you got an opportunity elsewhere?
I think really just, this community, just the friends and family pretty much that I built here. Like, I don't think I've ever had closer friends or people in my life besides here. Like, even just the faculty here, our advising office, those people have helped me get out of a very deep slump with my grades and everything. So, because this was actually my first year back and eligible. And so between them and the team and the coaches riding me and trying to get me to do better and trying to help me as a person and not just for athletics.
Right.
I mean, just the support here.
It seems like the educational side of things here is very conducive to being able to advance in the classroom. Because it's a little bit smaller, a little bit tighter group of people, and so they can give you a little bit more one-on-one instruction.
Yeah, which is what I think makes this school so great.
Gotcha. Well, folks, I certainly appreciate you taking the time to tune into another installment of Behind the Jersey. Here at DSU, we're trying to go ahead and let everybody know about the university, outreach that will probably spread all across the country. Speaking to Samantha O's last week, we reached somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3,300 people who watched that video, and the one with Jamoke Adekoye reached somewhere in the neighborhood of 17 or 1,800. So we certainly appreciate everybody taking the time to sit with us. I appreciate all of the efforts of Sagan Osborne and everybody here at the university who's made the athletes available to me so I can actually let you know who they are and you can meet them sort of in an ancillary, oblique way and get to know who they are off the playing field, as it were. So, Seth, Suvak, I certainly appreciate your time, buddy.
Appreciate you.
I genuinely always like to see another Florida man up here in North Dakota. So, thanks again for your time and being part of this. Folks, we will be with you here before long, and we're going to have another one up for you just in a little while.